Yeah, welcome to another episode of Mrs. Z and Fifth. All right, with your host, Zaccheus and the Fifth General. We have our brother joining us again. Cinema Escapes is on this episode with us today, rocking out. We're going to talk, here's today's episode, man. I don't want nobody to get it twisted here. We're going to talk about what's Eminem's status as being the GOAT. Okay, there's been a big debate. It happens every time he comes out with an album or anytime he disses somebody in a song. It happens all the time, you know. I feel like he gets that conversation more than any other rapper. But is it fair? All right, that's what we're going to talk about. First, let me get into before we get into that topic, Zach, here's anything you want to say about any current events?
Yeah, I'm just going to mention real quickly about the Super Bowl that happened last Sunday. The Super Bowl basically was the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. And, you know, I have to admit, I watched it, and I looked at the halftime show. And I was really impressed at how the Kansas City Chiefs came at the end of the third and fourth quarter and caught up, and they defeated the Niners. But one thing I was scratching my head. I have to applaud this. Wait a minute, I have to applaud. This is what I heard. Okay. I heard Rihanna turn down to do the halftime show, and I applaud her for doing that.
Facts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I applaud her for doing that. But you know, then of course Shakira and J-Lo came and they did their thing that on the show. Yeah, they ain't gonna turn that. I know that some of artists not gonna turn that down. They gonna do their thing and they're gonna get up and they're gonna do their thing, and then they're gonna sit there representing for the people, you know, and represent. They're gonna do their thing and sing, you know. So, but I'm gonna just say this overall. I applaud Rihanna for really taking a stand and say, you know what, I stand with my brother. And yes, this incident, this issue cannot be ignored. I know those who are listening to what I'm saying, I'm just speaking from the truth. And I'm just speaking the truth. And by me saying that, I applaud Rihanna for taking a stand and saying, listen, enough is enough. If you can't stand for our people, then what am I celebrating? Right. You know? Right. No, that's all I gotta say, you know, about the Super Bowl. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's get into the main topic. Let's not waste any time here. Listen, for anybody who knows me, well, who knows all of us, but I'll just speak for me just a second, knows that I'm blunt about how I feel about music and just overall things that I have a problem with. I'll probably never talk about this artist again. There's no disrespect, no hate. I actually think Eminem is a dope lyricist, but do I think he makes the best songs or he's the best MC in my book in hip-hop, past, present, future? Absolutely not. I have many rappers over him. For those who remember our episode naming our rappers, Eminem didn't get on any of our lists.
Nope. None of our top 10.
Doesn't, you know, as far as top 10 goes. Now Eminem is in a top. He is in one of my lists, but he's not a top 10. He's not even my top 20. Okay? He's respectfully in my top 50, but there are so many people that I could name over M. You know, that it's you know, and it's just how it is. I think that his last album is Dookie, Poo Poo and Doodoo. Okay. Kamikaze was Dookie, Poo Poo and Doodoo. Okay. A lot of people like that album. I don't know why. That album was butt, man.
Oh, man.
I mean, collectively. I mean, there might have been a song or two, but that's not an album. That's a single and that's it. And then also, I'm going to talk about his career real quick, and then I'm going to hand it off to Cinema because he's our guest. Yo, when I was growing up, okay, when I was young, I remember this, man. I don't remember Eminem. I don't recall hearing Eminem songs, growing up in cars, going down the street, boom boxes. For those who still have boom boxes left, when M came out. I don't recall hearing that, man. I don't. Not to the magnitude of anybody else I heard. You know what I'm saying? And for those who must have forgot, I'm from Staten Island, man.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
There wasn't a whole bunch of Eminem blasting in Staten Island, man. I can't talk about nobody else's place, but on Staten Island, I ain't hear all of that.
A lot of Woo,
I didn't hear it
a
either.
lot of Red Man.
Exactly.
A lot of,
We heard Wu-Tang, Mob Deep.
Biggie.
You know what I mean?
One.
You know what I'm saying?
I heard Biggie and before Unbelievable.
Exactly.
I heard Biggie. I heard
Anything Primo was producing was up on there. Nas.
Yeah, I'm just talking about at the time when M came out and when M,
Right.
You heard a lot of, you heard Nas, Jay, Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang, and anybody else we could mention, but there wasn't a whole bunch of Eminem stuff being played. Did M come up in conversations? Yeah, he did come up in conversations as far as his lyrical ability and the good songs that he has, and also the songs that he has with Dre. Some of the features that he has, you can't knock. But I don't think he's the best. I feel like if you're the best, then we all got to agree on it somehow. As a hip hop collective, not who Rolling Stone tells us, not who so and so magazine tells us. They are not in our culture to tell us that Eminem is the best in hip hop. I'm not down with that. That's like right now they did the same thing with Vanilla Ice when he came out. Not having it. Cinema, I'm gonna pass it to you.
Basically, when you talk about the body of work, when you're talking GOAT, it's consistency.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if you have a couple of whack albums or questionable albums, some things that people consider whack, you're still in the GOAT thing. But if you have more than a few, because everyone, even if it's not like a super whack album, but even if it's whack for you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot. With some artists, it's like that's the weakest album out of their album, but that's a dope album, but that's weak.
Right.
That's somebody you consider for GOAT.
Right.
But when you have throw-togethers, you could see a lot of times when people change camps, you could see it was the people around them that not to say that person's not skilled or lyrical or talented, but it's the whole package. Like everyone can't self-produce themselves. There's people who do it and they do it well. Eric Sermon does it well. He produces himself very well. Extreme. His last album, Fire, if you haven't heard it.
Right.
So we're respectfully, we're just taking the criteria of consistency. Yeah. And then also, like, you're going after a 15-year-old rapper and you're 50. I'm like 45. I'm not even, the next generation has their sound.
Yeah.
They're not even of your era.
Right.
Leave my man alone. Yeah. It's like you don't hear me going at you don't even hear me going at J. Cole or nobody.
Yeah.
That's their generation. Let them go at each other. And plus hip hop isn't completely how it is like that anymore. So you can't come with that. It's like you can be authentic to yourself, but also reinvent yourself. But if you're still trying to do gimmicks from a time that are no longer even in the community anymore. Like that beef stuff ain't in the community. Like you can't put that in a video. Like KRS-One walked into a PM Dawn show, beat them down, and put the footage in his video.
Yeah.
That's what we grew up with.
Yeah.
Here it is now. You just see the fist going down on that dude from PM Dawn in a little flash clip. That's where we were at the time, you know. It's some ignorant stuff, but it's what we were doing at the time. Yeah. We used to go around in a circle and battle rap. Did that outside of audio school, Institute of Audio Research. We have our ciphers and stuff coming out of school and whatnot. So that's the era you're coming from, and he was a battle rapper. Great battle rapper. Yeah. Great battle rapper. And it's like, I'm gonna say this because this is true for me. Okay. When you're older and then you get out of the hood, you get hit with the taste of suburbia. We all from the hood, but I'm saying, so trying to come like that when after you had your taste of suburbia, you ain't gonna come with the same fire, You're not gonna come with the same edge that you had when you were hungry. When you're hungry, you come with an edge. So the whole thing is you gotta find, where is that edge in me now? What impassions me? What do I need to speak about now? Right. Plus, your production team is everything. Like, who's in the studio with you? Who can ignite you? Right. Like, everyone, Dre had a couple of, because of different vibes. Like, Rakim was hard because Rakim's East and he's West. And, that's, it doesn't work out with everybody. Even Clive Davis on his special was talking about some groups he thought were good, but they weren't successful that he put out. It just, that happens.
Wow. Yeah.
So that happens. But the majority of what Dre touches is fire. And he fires up who he's working with. Because it's like, okay, let's take another artist, Snoop. He's not, he hasn't made an album like that first album with Dre, but Snoop's made bangers. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, he has. He has a career.
Yeah, throughout his career. Mm-hmm. That joint with Be Real, he still makes bangers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. With or without Dre. Right. It seems M has suffered without Dre. He had some fire for a while, but it's like it dwindled. Yeah, what do you want to say, Zaccheus?
Yeah, I remember in 1998 when I first heard that song. I'm just in the Real Shady. I'm just, please stand up. Yeah. When I heard that, I was jumping. I was like, yo, to me, when Dre did for him, when that first single came out in 1998, I said, this brother, he's going places, because that was a song that you couldn't even ignore. I didn't hear it. It didn't get the street credit like it didn't get street credit because, to be honest with you, in 1998, when you hear people bumping the songs in the radio, they didn't play that.
Sure didn't. Hold on. Pop radio played it. Okay, right. Okay, let's do this real quick, Zaccheus, because let's not sugarcoat this. I'm not saying you are. But the reason why you and me and Cinema or familiar with Eminem in the beginning of his career. When he met Dre, not the Outsiders part of his career, not when he was with Outsiders, but the Dre part of his career. Other than him having Dre, because Dre was supposed to give him street credibility somewhat, hip hop credibility. Yeah. But Dre struck gold with M because he was able to sign a person with very to little effort at all as far as being pushed by the industry. Eminem was shoved down our throats.
But then again, Dre even said on that documentary that they didn't even want him to work with Eminem. The people,
Interscope.
Yeah, Interscope didn't really want him to work with him. So basically, I didn't know that. Oh yeah, watch the HBO documentary. It's so good. But yeah, just to jump in for a second and say that. But
Eminem was shoved down our throats. Hi, my name is so. Even on MTV, every MTV VH1, he had that on lock. So even if Hot 97, for those who are from New York know what Hot 97 is, radio station in New York. Hot 97 might not have been flipping his records like that, But
Z100
but he was all over the pop stations. He was all over the channels, all that. So
right.
he got an early push. He got a push that some rappers dream of. Okay.
So I'll say it like this.
Yeah.
If you lived on the North Shore of Staten Island, you didn't hear him. If you lived on the South Shore of Staten Island, you heard him. But we didn't live on the South Shore.
Well, here's the thing.
Right.
Even if you heard him, I'm gonna tell you what happened. This guy drops his album, the Slim Shady album, and then right after that album dropped, they already crowned him, and I mean they already crowned him the king of hip hop. Okay, now who gets that?
Nobody.
No, thank you. Zaccheus, I'll pass it back to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even when I remember when and they gave him credibility, Eminem, when he dropped that album, which I believe that you don't just push that on the artist because they came with a record, and an album. That's credibility has to be earned by a few albums. They got to be classic bangers. Hip hop is all about classic bangers, and it's just like, and so you feel a way. You say, they push it on Eminem, and then you shove Eminem down or two because first of all, it'd be like, he's white, so they can push it down. They're gonna push it down. They can say, They do it in a lot of black genres. They even did it with
but that's the privilege.
Snow.
They
back in the days. I'm gonna bring up Snow.
Please,
Mr. Informer back in the early.
You can take it back to Elvis if you need to.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump it. I'm gonna put it to Snow with reggae music. Mm-hmm. Snow was a reggae artist that grew up in Canada, and he had no. Well, what happened? What made him blow is when he just made a visit to Jamaica.
Right.
He made a quick visit to Jamaica, and automatically artists was like, "Oh, a white boy that can sing dancehall reggae." Wow, they never had that before. Reggae music never seen that before, so it was like, to them it was like magic. No magic, because but you see, the thing is, when a black man sings reggae and he's not from and he has no Jamaican background, it's like, oh, okay, why are you singing it? Why are you singing reggae music?
Or when you make beats.
Yeah.
Or when you make beats, or when you make, you're a beat maker and you have no Caribbean origin, you're like, oh, why are you doing it? But exactly. as soon as the white counterparts do it, it's automatically, it's like, it's magic. I've seen that happen over numerous. Okay, let's go back to Elvis. Okay, let's jump way back in the 50s, 1950s. Mm-hmm. The quote with credibility. Elvis Presley and let's go to Chuck Berry and Elvis Presley. Mm-hmm. Elvis Presley used to mimic a lot of the black artists.
Stole.
And took a lot of credibility for the artists in the 1950s.
And he didn't like black people.
No, exactly. And called him the king of rock and roll, and to call him the king of rock and roll, and Little Richard was really the true architect of rock and roll.
Facts.
Let's go back to the 50s.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
This is an industry practice.
Please do.
This is a ridiculous industry practice. In those times with Little Richard and Elvis, if a song got hot by a black artist, as it climbed the charts and it almost reached, they would do a cover with a white band or a white artist to knock the main one off. Mm-hmm. So basically, in hip hop, they didn't have an end because we owned hip hop and the industry didn't control hip hop. Now we're in the era where the industry controls hip hop. It began right there.
Well, because the industry
at Interscope.
Well, because the industry didn't rock with hip hop when hip hop started.
Right.
Because they didn't want no parts of it. Then all of a sudden, here they come.
Oh, because it was making money.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Let's talk about this. Ghetto Boys, no radio play, platinum. Ice Cube, no radio play, platinum. Ice Cube didn't get on radio to his 4th solo album.
Mm.
And it was a good day.
Good day. Yeah.
So all those albums went platinum with us, word of mouth in the street. Public Enemy. Totally, and then for us, if we didn't have Ralph McDaniels and Video Music Box,
speak on it, please.
Please,
oh my goodness.
Please respect the Uncle Ralph. Yeah.
Ralph McDaniels, if for those who don't know, ran a show on public TV, on public television, which is PBS.
Yep.
Public television.
Yes, my brother.
Not public access didn't exist yet. So he had a show on PBS that came on with videos. And so he had underground that. He broke Jamiroquai in America. And so Jamiroquai broke in New York because nobody knew who they were. Ralph would have a day of different genres, a R&B day, a hip-hop day, like an international music day. He educated us in music.
Yes, he did.
And so a lot of New York's palette for music was huge. So, even when the West Coast rappers started going, Ralph would play that. They would have like a day for people outside of New York, But then you had the hardcore stuff. That's how we got to see Salt and Pepper, the Freaks, Houdini, and all that, Kumo D when they were coming up, because that was where you watched it. And then you had your certain radio stations, like you had when BLS played hip hop before Hot 97, Cool DJ Red Alert before they had whole stations of hip hop. You had stuff like that. So basically, the infrastructure of hip hop wouldn't allow. But you had people who were white from within, like Search Third Base. You had and stuff like that. You never, And so Eminem comes from Detroit. He comes from like the hood in Detroit.
Yeah.
You saw his story in 8 Mile. But,
yes.
But he's on Interscope, so it's a West Coast marketing team. So basically, the way they push and marketed him, basically just put him in your face because it wasn't from where, it was culture, it was that, it was unity. That's where the shift began, which people don't want to admit. That's where the shift of commercialism really began, because it's not saying he wasn't skilled or the album wasn't good,
right? But
he got more backing than anybody got. Yep. Like he was everywhere, and MTV rather play him. They had to fight for MTV Raps and stuff like that. That stuff didn't say.
Oh yeah.
If you wanted to see real videos, you had to watch BET. You had to watch Tigger in the Basement. Then 106 in Park came. MTV was playing him with the top 50, the Billboard top 100, and Eminem was getting played with that at the time. And so basically, and how it is. It's like we got our Jason Williams, our quote unquote white chocolate. I'm just, nothing against Jay Will. I love Jay Will.
Nah, but that's real talk though.
But I'm saying our culture doesn't see it that way. But the culture, when they got that, we got our great hope.
Yeah, great white hope.
Yep, exactly. And so basically Eminem was that, but you had people more skilled than him who had made albums like Milkbone and them, who people don't even know,
Yeah, Milkbone.
You had Third Base, everyone
Third
knows
Base
BC's now, but BC's was, running with Run DMC. They were running in the hip hop circles. And then fast forward, this dude's battling Mariah Carey.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let's not fast forward that much. Let's talk about.
I'm just saying, I'm not going there yet, but I'm saying this is where we end up, which we'll get to discussing. But I'm just saying from that, he has to go a whole nother route, because he can't go the typical route because he wasn't marketed typically.
We could do this real quick.
Right.
Now, okay. This is how this is how hip hop culture saw Eminem at first. We saw him as somebody who he had skill, but he also had a gimmick. I feel that Eminem really, I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be pretty tough for people to understand. I think Eminem copied Redman's formula. Yes, I said it. If anybody, especially cinema, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because I'm a hardcore Redman.
Redman's formula was, I'm nice, I'm gifted, but I'm going to put out a single with a sense of humor. Who else does that sound like?
Right. Even Redman's current singles like that. I'm going to slap the out of you. Slap. Still to this day, that's Redman. Redman has the funny track, the lyrical tracks. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like the video Redman, with the girl looking all nice and then running into the car with the bike and everybody going, "Oh,
I'll be that."
Yeah, exactly. I'll be exactly. Yeah. Well, Redman really brought that back in the 90s, man.
That was something that was very unique to Redman. And Redman might not be the first, but I'm saying this was something that was unique to Redman at a current time where right before Eminem came out and post Eminem's first album, is that there was a formula that Redman had almost every album. Okay, yeah, and I feel like Eminem copied that.
Yep.
And how is it that Eminem, and I think it's disrespectful that Eminem gets all the praise for that, but Redman doesn't? Are you kidding me?
And he's still killing it with that.
And I tell you how our culture saw him. We didn't take him serious when he was dissing pop singers. He was dissing Britney Spears and 98 Degrees and Christina Aguilera. Come on. We didn't respect that in hip hop. And Jermaine Dupri exposed that. Even though Jermaine Dupri cannot lyrically battle with him. But during that whole Dre verse, Jermaine Dupri, all that stuff was going on. I remember Jermaine Dupri bringing that up on that diss song he had. Yeah, and he made a great point. He was like, yo, don't nobody take you serious. People started taking him serious with the cannabis thing and, but nobody took him serious when he was dissing dissing Jessica Simpson and whoever. Christina Aguilera.
Benzemo have a strong dislike of him though. If you ever hear Benzemo speak on Eminem.
Well, here's the thing about the Benzino situation is that Benzino, like I said, another one who can't lyrically go bar for M, but he had a lot of points that made you look at Eminem a certain way.
Right.
And this whole Nick Cannon thing right now is corny. So, I mean, and like you said about Mariah, the reason why I wanted to go to what you said is because this is Eminem's bread and butter. His bread and butter is, I'm going to diss people who really can't diss back. How are you the GOAT when you do that? You're not, no. Nope.
Right. However you feel about LL and the Cannabis battle, they battled. Mm-hmm. And that was a real battle.
Mm-hmm. A challenge for both of them.
Exactly. And nobody shied away. So however you feel, whoever you felt won, that was a real battle. And so it's like, if you saw a battle.
I got LL Cool J over Eminem.
I do too.
Yep.
But you heard my list. You heard my list. You heard my mentions. He wasn't even in honorables.
Yeah.
So that means he's lower.
Factual.
And the whole thing is, we kept groups together. Mm-hmm. We didn't even take Black Thought out of the Roots. We didn't take Searching them out of their groups.
Right.
In those particular episodes of the Round Circle. Mm-hmm. So if I split third base up, both of them are higher than Eminem.
Mm-hmm.
As MCs. Search and Peace, nice.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Black Thought would arguably be in my top 3. That's my brother's favorite MC. But I didn't take him out of the Roots, and I didn't deal with people who were in groups rapping. in that list.
Right.
And so if we do that, that even puts him down lower. And it's like there's a lot of people with skill who's not at that echelon. It's like the NBA. You got superstar, all-star, role player. So he's down somewhere in the all-stars. He's not a role player, but he's down in the all-stars. That's not a diss. That's not even disrespect, because to be an all-star, you're an all-star.
Heck yeah.
You're good at what you do.
Yes.
Facts.
Oh, yes.
But he's not at superstar level. He's an all-star. So, pump the brakes.
I will respectively say that Eminem is one of the best, but he's not the best. That's where I have a problem, because I have Nas over him all day, any day. So
Ghostface.
I have plenty of people over him.
I got J. Cole over him, and J. Cole's career is not even half done yet.
I have Kendrick over him.
Me too.
Yeah, Kendrick. Yeah, Kendrick.
As a matter of fact, I have Kendrick over him in 2 categories. Better songs and a better lyricist.
Yeah.
Zaccheus, let me get it to you, because I know you wanted.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, see, you see, with Eminem, he's a bad rapper. He's a better rapper when he first started out too. At that point, as you can see, in the 8 Mile movie, he's a better rapper. But you could be a better rapper. Like I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, he lost against Lotto.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I choose Papoose over him though.
Yeah, I got. Yeah, I have Papoose lyrically over him too, as far as lyrics.
Yeah, because the thing is that he got the credibility when he first came out and everything. But as far as people saying he's the best, you can't just say you can't just. It takes a lot of clout and to say that he's the top of the line, he's the best and everything.
Right.
I don't believe that, because I never believed, even when somebody said, I never believed that, because there are so many credible MCs out there, known and unknown, that has even better music than him.
Hey Zaccheus, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Can you name 10 songs from Eminem? Can you name 10 songs that you like from Eminem?
Well, Slim Shady is the first one, the first joint.
Songs, not albums, songs.
Well, the letter. It had a song with a letter. That was a good song when you written there. You're talking about
Dear Stan.
Dear Stan, yeah, that was a good song right there. What else? I don't really have that. I'm not an Eminem fan, so let me see. So those 2 joints right there, man. Those two joints I like the most out of his whole music. But there's probably more music. There's probably more songs that I might have forgot. But those 2 songs stand out for me, that I think that he really, really shined. And I said, yeah, those songs shine out for me. But other than that, man, as far as like songs, nah, man, there's a lot of MCs out there that got good songs, man. I mean, I'm going from the early days of the 90s to the end of the 90s, late 80s. They got good. And it got songs that mean to really, like, I can't even name 5 songs in my hand that say, oh, Eminem. It's like, I would have to sit down and listen to an album and listen to his music, listen to all the music, and I was saying,
well, see, that's my point. I leave it up to. I'm not talking about today's young audience, but I'm talking about, I leave it up to hip hop as a community to determine who they feel is the best or part of the best. So I don't think Jay-Z is the best for me, but I don't have a problem with people saying he is.
Right.
Because show and prove. There are things that have been shown and proved. If Nas' names comes up, if Pac's name came up in the past. Biggie's name came up in the past. You know, Big Pun's name, and Big Pun's Puerto Rican, but he's part of the hip hop culture. So I feel like if these names were brought up, I don't have a problem with those names. You know, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick. These are names I don't have a problem with if people say they're the best. But with M, I just feel like, nah, he still has there's a privilege though that Eminem has gotten that other MCs would dream of. Cinema, you mentioned Black Thought. Black Thought is Black Thought is actually one of the best lyricists in this world. Okay,
ever.
And he's very underrated. I definitely have him over M. No debating.
If you go listen to Roots albums A to Z from back in the days, go all the way back to Organix. Somebody I played my friend Organix. He stole that sucker because that thing was so hot. And that was their underground album before Do You Want More that they were selling themselves. My dude stole that. I wasn't even mad at him. I was like,
well, he might have the best Funk Flex freestyle within these last 10 years, probably ever. He was killing that.
Exactly. But he's always killed it like that.
Yep.
But the whole thing is, you know, we were still in that New York state of mind, and I was already looking outside, and you know, Philly got heat.
Yeah.
I live right outside of Philly. Philly got heat. Now, when I went to the Far Side show and the local guys opened up, I was like, there's heat down here in the underground.
Well, see, Philly got heat. Philly got support, but I don't think Black Thought doesn't get the recognition he gets because he's from Philly. I think it's more of because he's nice. But then there's other MCs that we could say are nice too that are from New York. Like for instance, Pharrell Monch is a lyrical beast, but he doesn't right, and he's from Queens, but he don't get the same look that Eminem gets, and Pharrell's better than M to me. Okay,
big time.
So
simply yes,
you know, and these are the things that listen. There are a lot of things that come into play when it comes to judging an MC. There's a lot of things that an MC has to go through for us to say that he's a top MC. There are things that a lyricist has to go through for us to say that he's a top lyricist. Okay? Right. And I feel like Eminem is a lyricist. But I don't think that he should be mentioned. I think he should be mentioned in a list. I'll say that. But there are certain people that give Eminem they already give him they give him something over a crown. You got people basically calling him a rap god. Yeah, he got a song called Rap God. He's no rap god, but you got a lot of people who gave him a title of him being a god of rap. As a matter of fact, people are saying, watch out because 20, 50 years from now, they'll make it seem like Eminem basically created a standard for hip hop. The standard was created for him a long time ago before he was even born.
But that's what fandom does. Fandom is not of our culture. Fandom is of another culture.
Yes.
And fandom is hype, and you can do no wrong, and we just put you at the top because we're your fans. Hip hop doesn't deal in fandom. Yeah. Hip hop deals in reality. Mm-hmm. And so fandom is the order of the day for a lot of stuff. You know, I'll talk about BTS, and BTS fans will slam me. And I'm a BTS fan, but I was into EXO. I was into Boa years ago, over a decade ago, when she was the #1 star in Asia. Like these BTS fans have no history of K-pop. And so fandom is giving them credit like Eminem's getting credit right now. So all these artists at SM, you know, Shiny, the dude who committed suicide last year, Shiny is a big reason K-pop groups have evolved and stuff like that because they're the foundation. And so this is what's happening with fandom. They're taking away credit and they're putting it on somebody without proper information. Is BTS good? Yes, they are. But do they deserve to be like, oh, they built K-pop? Heck no. K-pop was built on Boa, and Boa was over there singing in Japanese before she was singing in Korean. And SM was making money over in Japanese. She's on a lot of your animes you watch. You know, it's the same thing with M. It's like M came on the back end of the golden era. Back end.
Yeah.
Back end.
1998.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back end of the golden era.
Yeah.
And it's disrespectful. The Tribe and all those groups.
Yes.
It is.
Public Enemy. I could name them all.
Yes,
Ice Cube and NWA in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were way before him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Way before.
All of them. It's disrespectful to all those dudes to say that. And those dudes are still walking around making better albums than him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Redman just made a 3-song EP that's better than him's whole album.
Let me tell you something.
Zaccheus, go ahead.
That's why I say I give credit to Gangstar too.
Mm-hmm.
Because Gangstar used to make bangers back in the day.
Yeah, they don't have a whack album. They do not have a whack album.
Nope.
Gangstar never came up with the whack. I think at the end when he changed, when DJ Premier was doing the stuff, it was something different. But
that's different.
Other than that, other than that,
but that's production. Guru was always on Guru level. Because when he did Jazzmontage, he was fine.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff he did with Solar was just a mediocre producer for whatever it's worth.
Right.
He was a mediocre producer. And so you could have put Rakim or anybody on those beats. They couldn't have saved them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Zaccheus, you wanted to speak to something. You were saying that him as far as him not being the best rapper, but also from a culture, from a standpoint of him being who he is, and although he should be respected as an artist, of course,
right?
But we just have to draw this line that he's not the best, and you have to allow the hip hop community to have to vote on that, and there has been no vote. It's almost like, hey, we have a candidate for you, but hey, this is your choice. But you really don't have a choice, so this is the guy you need to vote for. That's basically how Eminem was put to us.
Right.
That's not fair.
You see, what happened is people. No. Eminem, he's always a lyricist. He always get credit to being he's going to always be in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame as a lyricist. Always. But there's a big. But yes, hands down. But there is a bit of culture that there's not the hip hop community, but when hip hop was sold, it was a culture that put him, and they only seen him, and they say, oh, it was a white guy that can flow. We love this. They seen him, and they said, you know what? They're gonna put him as the top MC. And they used him. They say he's the top MC, and they gave him the credit as a top MC because remember, because see, when you step out of hip hop, it's all hip hop. But when we saw hip hop, it's all about image now.
Yeah,
that's why you see women that are scantily clad. I can name a few women that they're scantily clad in hip hop. It's been since the Little Kim days, and so when we changed the face of hip hop. No, the images change.
He's also the most forgiving hip hop artist. If anybody noticed that, Eminem has done a lot of crazy stuff, and he's been forgiven quicker than any other black rapper that we could think of.
Right, he gets more passes than Dan Marino, and we know that was a pass-only quarterback.
Yeah, well, that's a privilege that's a privilege in itself, and they tried the same thing with Macklemore. Come on, now, let's not forget that they tried this with Macklemore. Where is he?
Yeah, because he tried to call out the hip hop community on the Grammys with something that's not in hip hop. He tried to accuse hip hop of something. Shot yourself in the foot, dude. You don't know the community. Community dropped off. He dropped off after Ellen came out of the closet episode. How they were at that time, they were intolerant, remember? Ellen disappeared off the face of the earth. And that just happened to Macklemore. Thank God Ellen's back. Like Ellen, hilarious person. But
Macklemore became an agenda rapper.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, how you
industry
gonna have an
agenda rapper
when you were talking about this is freaking awesome, I got $20 and then you're gonna come and try to attack a community when you came with like the most pop rap thing, and then you're gonna try to go. He tried to save himself and tried to go get like the old school artists and make a song with that and an old school rock guy. Tried to save his career. It didn't work because hip hop remembers like Pepperidge Farm remembers. For real, hip hop is when it comes to history, we're protecting that. It's being documented with all these shows and all the the Netflix series. All this stuff is being documented correctly because hip hop doesn't want any mistakes or any misconstrueds.
I have to say something real quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Those who don't know, those who don't watch, if you want to learn something about hip hop, those who don't know about the culture, watch The Evolution of Hip Hop on Netflix.
Right, exactly. That's what I was talking about.
Season 2, season 3, we're up to season 4. Watch The Evolution of Hip Hop, and it will tell you the truth. Watch
and also that show that Questlove made on AMC, him and Black Thought, where they go into certain songs and show you the background.
That's a good series.
I love that series. It's on my DVR. I'm watching those again, and I'm watching Evolution again because it's being documented. That's why what Fifth was saying. We have to document it. We have to document it. Otherwise, somebody be able to tell a lie. Otherwise, and none of these shows. Do you see him on it? Have you saw anybody talking about him on there?
Maybe not yet, but I mean, it could happen. But I get what you're saying. What you're saying is there's
he wasn't the first story people rushed to say.
Thank you. He sure was
down the line. With all due respect, he wasn't the first story anybody thought of.
No, I mean, during the episodes, I think he was in episode. Eminem was in episode 2 or 3. I think 3.
Yeah, but
episode 3.
Yeah, briefly. He wasn't. He didn't get the
right.
He didn't get what everybody else.
He was like the Detroit, coming out of Detroit.
Right, because
you have to mention him. You can't mention Detroit.
You can't.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what I want to say about Detroit hip hop, and I want to respect Detroit. Real hip hop fans of Detroit. They will tell you let Detroit tell you who their hero is.
Exactly.
Okay. Let them get a chance to say, because I'll tell you something right now. If you want to talk about friends of Eminem, I think that Royce the 5'9" is actually better than Eminem. I have Royce over M. And why is it that Royce, and this is unfair, but Royce has a body of work throughout his career, but he don't get talked about like his white counterpart. That sounds like white supremacy in a nutshell, where you could be 2-3 times better than the man standing next to you, okay, and have all the accolades in the world, but you still get passed up for the position.
Yep, and that's too normal with us.
Yeah,
because it's all about image,
Well, if it happens in life, if it happens in society, when it comes to social issues, then that would happen in hip hop too.
Right, and so it's not only just image; it's also privilege.
Hello.
It's something you got. It's privilege.
Mm-hmm.
And some people spend their privilege.
Yeah.
And some people don't. Some people just take the privilege.
Yeah.
They use the privilege. Right. There's some people who spend their privilege, and salute to them, because y'all the real ones. But there's people who just it's easy. You know, I'm gonna just ride this because it helps me.
Yeah. All right.
So,
I'm sorry. We're gonna get to our closing statements.
No problem.
All right, cinema, you go first. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but we'll just
I'll just take that into my closing statement.
Okay.
Shout out to Joaquin Phoenix. That took a lot of guts.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Joaquin. Sorry, thinking of the wrong thing.
Thinking of Joaquin Noah.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. That's something. That's an insider. You don't even know. You don't even need to know.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
That's something else. I crossed them up. But man, takes a lot of courage to say that, to do that.
Yeah.
And those are the things, you know, I think if M would have took a stand like that, then I could have respected him more. But he didn't.
Yeah.
He kind of hides behind it. And, you know, Dre's off doing what he's doing, and M is got to do what he's got to do. So he's, probably midlife crisis. You know, what do? You can still rap.
Yeah.
We know there's people older rapping, but, you know, make that transition to have you matured as a person. Make that transition to your age. Even Jay has made that mature transition in his art. You know?
Yeah.
I'm 45. My next album, I'm not gonna have skinny jeans on it. That, you know, let the kids do what the kids do. You know, let them do what they do. It's their time to shine. You know, you can eat and have an audience. Everyone just, you know, there's many levels of music where you don't have to be superstar, where you can be successful. Right. And that's the lie. Everybody's like, if you're not playing, they're acting like you're not successful, and it's not true.
Yeah.
You know, it's not true. There's many levels to this. And then there's the levels where you're not successful. Everyone enjoys a level of success in music, especially if they're going around touring and doing shows. That's a level of success where you can live off of touring.
Yeah, that is.
Even if you're doing local touring part-time and it's bringing you income, that's a level of success. And the lie is, you know, we got to put somebody on top and then, you know, no. You put them in their rightful place. There's many levels and many layers to that stuff. Yeah. And so, you know, first they didn't want to have nothing to do with hip hop, then they want to take it and control it. It's happened with jazz. It's happened with rock and roll. It's happened with every genre we make. It's happened with blues. Every genre. And the whole thing is, the problem's not usually the musician, it's usually these executives. So educate yourself. Don't be signing no 360 deals, and you know, get you a good business lawyer who doesn't have ties to the person you're signing with, because they'll, you know, in a deal they're supposed to pay for your lawyer. And, you know, go look out for information from Wendy Day and people like that, you know, because this is important. Because if you let society marginalize what you're doing because they want to put somebody up there with fandom, it ends up hurting everything. Because even in Christian rap, when they put Lecrae on the pedestal, Christian rap hasn't survived. It's struggling now. It's on life support right now.
Wow. Wow.
I'm sorry. I'm going to say this because I've worked with people. I know this for a fact. Christian hip hop is such on life support, and people are trying to push it. But when you put one person high on that pedestal, like they're above somebody, and they don't really deserve that, and you basically kick everybody else who's helped build it away. You know, how many people have walked away? You know, they don't even honor the people who came before them. You know, it's struggling right now. Can it recover? Yes, of course it can. But right now it's on life support.
A lot of it is, I mean, if you look at like I took a good look at some artists, man, and especially in the gospel arena, you know, urban gospel is always striving.
Right, because a lot of them went independent.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Even Fred Hammond.
yeah, and the thing is that with that genre right there, I mean, gospel Caribbean music has always been a struggling genre, and it will always, and I could see it. In certain parts of the Caribbean is a little striving, but the thing is that when you have a group of people that don't support you and then when you put your art out there, they don't flood it with support, but as far as financing, as far as like respecting you and giving you something to when you perform, then what do you think is going to happen to it?
It's gonna die in
Exactly.
so many people's crossover, and that caused the thing. But that's the whole thing that's happening with hip hop. It's in control of the industry now because of those reasons. So I'm just giving that as an example of where hip hop could end up going. And then it's getting new life. The underground's getting new life with these documentaries and these series, and that's smart. Whoever's doing it, documenting this stuff is very wise. These movies. Yeah. We need more hip hop movies about these people's stories. The Wu-Tang show. This is good stuff. Yeah. And so
that was a good episode. Yeah.
And so these other industries didn't do that. So but things of this nature must be checked. And send them out. All
right. Zaccheus, any last remarks?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is to young people that's trying to get out there in music, especially with hip hop, man. I mean, always be authentic and be true to yourself. The industry is gonna try to, even the industry will try to make you try to succeed so they can own you and inform and mold you into their own image. And I admit that there is a certain image and privilege to certain people get. That is true. With women, with how they dress scantily clad, that is true. With your race, which is true. America, they like the image of smiling, white image to represent them. That is true. But be true. Always stick to and be true to yourself. That's all I gotta say. God bless y'all.
All right. Listen. At the end of the day, who you are and what you do in your career, you got to show and prove, and you have to be timeless. And you have to be consistent, because you can't be the king of something and you're not consistent. If you haven't solidified yourself at a certain point in your career where you've had consistency and you showed a level of consistency, and when they said you couldn't do it, you still did it. That's all I gotta say. I'm out of here. Cinemascapes, where can they reach you, man?
I'm on Instagram, Cinemascapes Music. Cinemascapes is my personal. On Facebook, Cinemascapes Music, and on Twitter, Cinemascapes.
All right. Zaccheus, where can they reach you, man?
You can also reach me on Wayne Backus 2 on Twitter. Wayne Backus 2 on Twitter. Also on Instagram, Zaccheus B73 on Instagram, and also Facebook, Wayne Zaccheus Backus on Facebook. Yeah, man.
All right. Y'all can get at me at the Fifth General on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right. I'm going to get on out of here. Signing off. Cinemascapes, our guest, our brother, as always.
Yeah.
We'll have him on another episode before the round circle comes back. Next episode, me and Zaccheus are going to talk about something different, whatever that may be. So we're going to get on out of here. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.